Ashley Roberts woke up once again at 3 a.m., her heart racing and the suffocating feeling that something terrible was about to happen. But it wasn't. Nothing would happen. And perhaps that was precisely the scariest part. At 28, she had become an expert at pretending she was fine. She smiled at her neighbors in the hallway of her Portland apartment building, replied, "I'm fine, thanks," when asked how she was, and maintained her routine with the precision of a broken clock that still insists on ticking. But inside, Ashley was dying. Not dramatically, not with screams or visible cries for help. She was dying as quietly as possible. A little each day, a little with each labored breath, a little each time she opened her eyes and wished she hadn't woken up. Extreme depression didn't arrive like a devastating hurricane. It arrived like a fog, thick and persistent, enveloping every thought, every movement, every reason to keep living. That October morning, sitting in bed with her knees pulled up to her chest, Ashley stared at the bottle of pills on her nightstand. They were just antidepressants prescribed by Dr. Martinez, her psychiatrist. But in that moment, they represented something much bigger. Concrete proof that her mind was broken. Normal people don't need pills to get out of bed, she thought, repeating the same cruel mantra that had haunted her for months. Normal people don't cry in the shower. Normal people don't plan elaborate lies to cancel appointments because they simply can't find the strength to get dressed. The apartment was silent, except for the low hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. That silence had become her only constant companion. Her friends stopped calling after she canceled her 10th, 15th date. Her family in Michigan thought she was just too busy with work. And maybe it was easier that way. Was easier than explaining that she'd forgotten what joy felt like, that the simple act of brushing her teeth felt like an impossible marathon, that her mind had become a prison from which there was no escape. Ashley didn't know it yet. But that would be the last morning she would wake up alone in that darkness. Not because something magical was about to happen, but because she was finally reaching her absolute limit. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to finally find the courage to start climbing. Her story isn't about a miraculous cure or waking up one day suddenly happy. It's about the brutal, honest and transformative journey of a woman who fought against her own mind to reclaim the right to live and not just exist. Ashley didn't know it yet, but that would be the last morning she would wake up alone in that darkness. Not because something magical was about to happen, but because she was finally reaching her absolute limit. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to finally find the courage to start climbing. Her story isn't about a miraculous cure or waking up one day suddenly happy. It's about the brutal, honest and transformative journey of a woman who fought against her own mind to reclaim the right to live and not just exist. If you've ever felt even for a moment the weight Ashley carried, the feeling of just surviving instead of living, leave a comment below with what's touched you most so far. Sometimes just writing about it can help us process things that were being held inside. And knowing we're not alone in this struggle makes all the difference. Your story matters, your voice matters. And when you share it here, you might be the very light someone else needed to see today. And look, if this content resonates with you, if you feel more people need to hear real stories like Ashley's, please leave a like. Your participation is what makes this channel grow and reach more people who are struggling in silence, thinking they're alone. Every like, every subscription to this channel is a vote of confidence that this kind of honest, unfiltered conversation about mental health needs to continue. Subscribe here and activate the bell, because we'll continue bringing you stories that need to be told. But back to Ashley's story. On that October morning, something was about to change. Not in the way she expected, but in the only way that could truly make a difference. Ashley's life wasn't always this way. There was a time, not so long ago, when she was known as the person who lit up any room. At the University of Oregon, where she majored in graphic design, she was the friend who organized meetups, sent motivational messages to the group, and stayed up late helping classmates with projects. Her laugh was infectious, and her eyes sparkled with plans and dreams for the future. She had just landed an amazing job at an advertising agency, an apartment she loved decorating, and a social circle that made her feel like she belonged. But depression doesn't ask permission to enter. It doesn't warn. It doesn't respect achievements, diplomas, or dreams come true. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly. First, it was simply a tiredness that sleep wouldn't cure. Then, a growing difficulty in feeling enthusiastic about the things that once excited her. Ashley began cancelling plans, always with plausible excuses: a headache, too much work, a forgotten commitment. No one suspected. Not even she, at first, realized what was happening. By the time she finally admitted something was wrong, Ashley had been in a seemingly inescapable hole for 6 months. Waking up was a struggle. Taking a shower was a medal-worthy achievement. Going to work required energy she no longer knew where to find. And worst of all, she felt deeply guilty about it all. Why can't I just be normal? That question echoed in her mind like a broken record, playing over and over. Her parents, Robert and Linda, called on Sundays as they always had. "How are you, honey?" her mother would ask in that sweet, concerned voice. "I'm fine, Mum. Just working hard," Ashley lied as easily as she breathed. How could she explain to the woman who raised her with such love that her own daughter had become a stranger to herself? How could she say that there were days when she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back? At work, her supervisor, Michael, began to notice the changes. Projects that were once delivered creatively and ahead of schedule were now barely meeting their deadlines. The meetings Ashley used to lead with confidence became moments of awkward silence. "Are you okay? You seem different," he asked one afternoon, with genuine concern. Ashley forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm just tired. A lot going on, you know." Another lie, another mask glued to her face. Her friends, Jennifer and Sarah, with whom she shared endless laughs at after-work happy hours, began to drift away, not out of cruelty, but out of confusion. "Ashley's acting weird," Jennifer commented to Sarah after her 5th consecutive cancellation. "Did we do something wrong?" They didn't understand that Ashley wasn't drifting away from them. She was drifting away from herself. Every social interaction had become an exhausting theater where she had to pretend to be her old self, and it drained the last shreds of energy she had left. Ashley's extreme depression wasn't just sadness. It was a visceral emptiness, a complete absence of color in a world that was once vibrant. It was waking up with no reason to get out of bed. It was feeling a physical weight on her chest, as if someone was sitting on her constantly. It was losing interest in absolutely everything: tasteless food, emotionless music, purposeless days. It was looking into the future and seeing only a dark, endless hallway with no exit. And the most terrifying thing was starting to think that maybe the world would be better off without her. The first time Ashley seriously considered no longer existing, she was driving to work on a rainy March morning. It wasn't a dramatic or explosive thought. It was quiet, almost seductive in its simplicity. What if I just didn't come home today? The thought frightened her so much that she had to pull over, her hands trembling on the steering wheel, her heart racing. In that moment, surrounded by speeding cars, drenched in the relentless rain, Ashley realized she had crossed an invisible line. She wasn't just sad, she was in danger. But acknowledging a problem and asking for help are two completely different things. It took Ashley another 3 weeks to dial the number for the mental health clinic her co-worker Emma had casually mentioned months earlier. "My sister goes to therapy there. It changed her life," Emma had said, never knowing those words would stick in Ashley's mind like a life preserver thrown into a stormy ocean. When she finally called, Ashley cried on the phone with the receptionist, unable to form coherent sentences, only repeating, "I need help. Please, I need help." The first appointment with Dr. Martinez was on an April afternoon. The office had light beige walls, plants on the shelves, and a comfortable chair where Ashley sat, rigid as a statue. "Tell me what's going on," the psychiatrist asked, her voice free of judgment, just genuine openness. And Ashley broke down. It was 40 minutes of uninterrupted crying, of rushed words, of secrets she'd kept for so long that they seemed to burn when spoken aloud. "I don't want to die, but I can't live like this either. I don't know who I am anymore." Dr. Martinez didn't offer magic solutions or empty words of comfort. Instead, she offered something Ashley hadn't received in months: validation. What you're feeling is real. Extreme depression is an illness, Ashley, not a character flaw. Your brain is sick, and we'll work together to treat it. Those words, "your brain is sick," were simultaneously devastating and liberating. Devastating because they confirmed that something was deeply wrong. Liberating because, for the first time, Ashley didn't have to pretend everything was okay. The diagnosis came with a prescription: antidepressants, weekly therapy, and a list of lifestyle changes that seemed impossible for someone who could barely brush her teeth. Exercise, a balanced diet, a regular sleep routine, the doctor listed. Ashley almost laughed. How could she exercise if getting out of bed was an Olympic achievement? How could she eat well if food tasted tasteless? How could she sleep regularly if nights were a hell of intrusive thoughts and cruel insomnia? But there was something about Dr. Martinez's seriousness, the way she looked Ashley directly in the eyes, that made her at least try. "It doesn't have to be perfect," the doctor said. "It has to be consistent. One day at a time, Ashley, sometimes 1 hour at a time." That afternoon, Ashley left the office with a bottle of pills in her purse and a strange feeling in her chest. It wasn't hope, not yet. It was something more fragile, more tenuous. It was the possibility that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. Telling anyone was the impossible next step. Ashley rehearsed the conversation 1,000 times in her head before calling her childhood best friend, Katie, who still lived in Michigan. "Hi, Katie, I need to tell you something." The words came out shaky, embarrassed, as if confessing to mental illness was admitting a personal failure. Katie listened silently until the end, and then said something Ashley would never forget. "Thank you for trusting me. I'm here no matter what. You're not alone in this." They were simple words, but they carried immense weight. However, not all reactions were understanding. When Ashley finally mustered the courage to tell her mother, Linda, the response was devastating. "But you have so much to be grateful for, honey. A good job, a nice apartment, your health. Maybe you just need to get out more, meet new people, do something fun." The words, though spoken with love, cut like a sharp blade. Ashley hung up the phone, feeling even more misunderstood, even more alone. How could she explain that depression doesn't respect gratitude, that having a seemingly good life doesn't prevent the mind from getting sick? The first 2 months of treatment were brutally difficult. Antidepressants take weeks to start working, but the side effects hit immediately. Ashley spent the first few weeks with constant nausea, even worse insomnia than before, and a sense of disconnection that made her feel like she was floating outside her own body. "This is normal," Dr. Martinez assured her during a particularly difficult appointment. "Your body is adjusting. You just have to persevere." But persevere seemed like a cruel word when each day was an exhausting marathon just to survive. In June, 3 months after starting treatment, Ashley had her worst episode. It was a Saturday night, alone in her apartment, when darkness finally swallowed her whole. She had spent the entire day in bed, not eating, not showering, not even checking her phone. When the sun set and night took over the room, something inside her simply snapped. Suicidal thoughts, which had previously been occasional visitors, became a suffocating, insistent presence. No one will miss me. I'm a burden. The world would be better off without me. Ashley picked up the phone with trembling hands and looked through her contact list. Who could she call at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night to tell them she was thinking about taking her own life? For 15 endless minutes, she sat there in the dark, teetering on the edge of an irreversible decision. And then, in a split second of desperate lucidity, she dialed the suicide prevention hotline. A male voice answered on the other end, calm, non-judgmental, present. "My name is David. I'm here to listen to you." Ashley couldn't respond immediately. The tears came first, followed by sobs that seemed to come from a place so deep she hadn't even known existed within her. "I can't take it anymore," she finally managed. "I'm so tired of fighting." David didn't try to convince her that life was beautiful. He simply stood there on the line, breathing with her, letting her speak, cry, exist. They talked for nearly 2 hours. David helped her create an immediate safety plan, pack all her medications, call Dr. Martinez on Monday, promise not to be alone. "Can you call someone now?" Her voice still cracking, Ashley texted Emma, her co-worker. "Emma, I know it's late, but could you come over? I'm not feeling well." Emma arrived 20 minutes later in her pajamas, her eyes wide with concern. She didn't ask invasive questions, didn't offer unsolicited advice. She simply stayed. She sat beside Ashley, held her hand and said, "You don't need to explain anything. I'll stay here." And she did. They didn't sleep much. Ashley cried. Emma offered water, blankets, presents. Sometimes salvation comes not in the form of healing, but in the form of a friend willing to sit in the dark with you until the morning light arrives. That night marked true rock bottom for Ashley. On Monday, Emma accompanied her to Dr. Martinez's office. "We need to consider hospitalization," the psychiatrist said seriously. The word should have scared her, but it brought inexplicable relief. It meant someone was taking her pain seriously. Ashley spent 10 days in a treatment unit. It was a peaceful place, with daily intensive therapy, careful medication adjustments, and other patients who, for the first time, truly understood. There, in that place where everyone was broken in some way, Ashley finally allowed herself to completely fall apart, and she discovered that falling apart isn't the end. Sometimes it's the only way to begin rebuilding. Ashley's true transformation didn't happen in a single dramatic moment. There wasn't a ray of heavenly light, nor a sudden epiphany that changed everything overnight. The turning point began with something much smaller, much more human, a conscious decision to try to live another day, and then another, and another. For the first few weeks after leaving the treatment facility, that was her only goal. Not to be happy, not to be productive, not to return to her former self, just to survive another 24 hours. Dr. Martinez had adjusted her medication during her hospitalization, and this time, finally, Ashley began to feel a subtle difference. It wasn't that the darkness had disappeared, but it was as if someone had lit a tiny candle in a pitch-black room. It was still dark, but now there was a glimmer of light to guide her. She would wake up in the morning and, instead of immediately wishing she could go back to sleep forever, she could think, "Okay, one more day. I can do one more day." Emma became a constant and vital presence in those first months of recovery. She created what she called non-negotiable check-ins. Every morning at 8 o'clock she would text Ashley, "How are you today? Scale of 1 to 10. Sometimes Ashley would respond with a 3, other times with a 5. She rarely got higher than a 6. But the simple act of having someone ask, of knowing someone would notice if she didn't respond, created a tenuous line of connection with the world Ashley had tried to leave behind. It was Emma who suggested something that would completely change Ashley's trajectory, a support group for people with depression. Ashley hesitated for weeks. The idea of exposing her vulnerability to strangers seemed terrifying. But one Tuesday night in August, when the loneliness became too much to bear, she finally went. The group met in the basement of a community church in Portland. There were 7 people that first night. A teacher named Rachel, a war veteran named Marcus, a college student named Zoe, and others. When it was Ashley's turn to introduce herself, her voice shook so badly she could barely form words. "My name is Ashley. I have extreme depression, and I don't know what I'm doing here, but I need help." What happened next was something Ashley hadn't expected. Everyone in the circle nodded in deep recognition. There was no pity in their eyes, no judgment. There was understanding. Rachel shared how she'd missed 3 months of work the previous year because she couldn't get out of bed. Marcus spoke of the nightmares that made him wish he'd never returned from the war. Zoe, just 20, described how she planned her own suicide while her classmates thought she was just studying too hard. For the first time since depression had taken over her life, Ashley didn't feel alone. There, in that circle of folding chairs, she was just one of many fighting the same invisible battle. "Depression lies to you," Daniel, the facilitator, said. "It tells you you're alone, that no one understands, that there's no way out. But look around you. You're not alone." Ashley began attending the group religiously every Tuesday. Those 2 hours became her anchor. She listened to others' stories and gradually began sharing her own. She talked about the night she almost gave up, about her hospitalization, about the shame. And each time she shared, the weight felt a little lighter. It was Marcus who suggested she try something physical. "Starting walking saved my life," he said. "Not because it made me happy, but because it gave me something to do when the thoughts got too bad." Ashley laughed bitterly. "Marcus, I can barely shower." He smiled. "Then walk for 5 minutes. If you can do 5 minutes, you've accomplished more than doing nothing." Ashley started with 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes of walking around the block, wearing the same worn-out sweatshirt she'd worn for 3 days, without a care in the world. The first few days were pathetic, she admitted to herself. Her legs felt like they weighed a ton. Her chest burned with the slightest exertion, and her negative thoughts screamed, "This is ridiculous. You're ridiculous. This won't change anything." But she kept going, because Marcus had said something that kept resonating. "Depression will tell you to give up. Do it anyway." After 2 weeks of 5-minute walks, something strange happened. Ashley noticed a cafe on the corner she'd never noticed before. There was a tree with pink flowers blooming. There was a golden retriever that always barked amiably as she passed. Small details of the world that had disappeared in the fog of depression were beginning to become visible again. Not that she felt joy in seeing them, not yet, but she noticed them. And that, in itself, was progress. In weekly therapy with Dr. Martinez, Ashley began working on something that terrified her, rebuilding her identity beyond her depression. "Who is Ashley when she's not depressed?" the psychiatrist asked. Ashley was silent for long minutes. The painful truth was that she no longer knew. Depression had consumed so much of who she was that it seemed there was nothing left but the illness. "I used to love graphic design," she finally murmured. "I used to create beautiful things." "So don't create because you want to," Dr. Martinez suggested. "Create because it's part of who you are, regardless of how you feel." It was a revolutionary concept for Ashley, doing things not because she wanted to, but because they mattered. That night, she opened her laptop for the first time in months and created something simple, a digital poster with the phrase, "I'm here, I'm trying, this is enough." It was rough, imperfect, but it was hers. And for the first time in almost a year, she had created something that wasn't pain. At the support group, Ashley got to know Zoe better. The young student struggled with depression while trying to maintain her grades in college, and Ashley saw so much of herself in that 20-year-old. They started having coffee after meetings. "How do you hold on?" Zoe asked one night, tears in her eyes. "How do you keep going when it feels like nothing will get better?" Ashley held her hand across the table. "I keep going because I've decided I deserve to see if things can get better, and you do too, Zoe." The words Ashley said to Zoe were the same ones she needed to hear. Helping someone else carry their grief had become an unexpected way to process her own. She began to realize that recovery wasn't linear. There were good days when she could shower, eat 3 meals, even smile genuinely. And there were terrible days when getting out of bed was a losing battle, when the dark thoughts returned with a vengeance. On one particularly bad day, Ashley called Katie in Michigan, crying. "I thought I'd be better by now, but today I woke up and the darkness was back, Katie, all back." Her friend took a deep breath. "Ashley, recovery doesn't mean you'll never have bad days again. It means you're learning to survive them. And look, you're calling me instead of isolating yourself. That's progress." Katie was right. The bad days still came, but Ashley was developing tools to cope. She kept a list on her phone, things to do when the darkness returns. It included call Emma or Katie, go to group, walk 5 minutes, take her medicine, remember that feelings aren't facts. On bad days, she followed the list mechanically until the storm passed. And the storms always passed. 15 months after beginning treatment, Ashley woke up one December morning and realized something extraordinary. She had forgotten to dread the next day. It wasn't that the depression had completely disappeared. It was still there, a familiar but no longer dominant presence. It was as if she had shifted from a roaring monster at center stage to a shadow in the wings, present, but no longer running the show. She had returned to work part-time, creating projects that made her heart race with excitement again. Michael, her supervisor, commented, "It's good to have Ashley back." But she gently corrected him, "It's not the same Ashley. It's a different version, and that's okay." The 5-minute walks had turned into 30-minute runs. Tuesday support group remained her mainstay, but now she didn't just go to receive, she went to give as well. Zoe was getting better. Rachel had returned to teaching. Marcus talked less about his nightmares. Ashley started a personal project, a series of honest, raw illustrations about mental health, which she posted online. Messages poured in. "Thank you for talking about this. I thought I was alone." She wasn't just healing herself. She was helping others heal too. The conversation with her parents finally happened. Linda cried and apologized for not understanding sooner. Robert said, his voice breaking, "I love you, daughter, and I'm sorry you had to go through this alone." Ashley finally felt like she had a family who understood. The depression didn't go away. It probably never would, but Ashley learned to live with it, not under it. She learned that strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting up every time you do. 2 years after that October morning, when Ashley woke up alone in the darkness, she sat in the same Portland apartment. But everything had changed. Not because life had become perfect or because depression had magically disappeared, but because Ashley had learned the most important truth. You don't have to wait to feel good to start living. You start living, and eventually, little by little, feeling good follows. She still took medication, she still went to therapy, she still had bad days where the darkness whispered lies in her ear. But now she knew those days would pass. She had tools, she had people, she had hope, and most importantly, she had herself back, even if it was a different version than she knew before. Ashley's journey didn't end with a perfect, happy ending. It ended with something much more valuable, a real beginning, a daily commitment to choosing life, even when it was hard, to asking for help when she needed it, to believing it was worth continuing, even on the days when it felt like a lie. If you're reading this story and recognize the darkness Ashley faced, know this: you're not alone. Depression lies. It tells you there's no way out, that you're a burden, that no one understands. But these are all lies. There is a way out. You matter. And there are people waiting to help you. You just need to take the first step, no matter how scary it may seem. Ashley's story is proof that silence can turn into hope, that rock bottom can be the beginning of a climb, that you can survive the worst of yourself and find reasons to live on the other side. You deserve this chance. You deserve to fight for yourself, and you deserve to discover that life, even with all its pain, can still be extraordinarily valuable. Never give up. The world needs your light, even when you can't see it. If you've made it this far, to the end of Ashley's story, it's because something about this journey resonated with you. And I'd like to invite you to join this community that believes real, honest, and unfiltered stories about mental health need to be told. Subscribe to the channel to continue this conversation with me. It's by sharing what's true that we break the silence. And leave a comment here: this message was for me. I want to know that you were here, that you heard it, that you felt it. Your presence here matters more than you can imagine. If this story resonated with you, please leave a like. It's not just a button. It's a way of saying that we need more conversations like this, more truth, more empathy. And look, there's a video right here that complements everything we talked about today. Click and continue with me there. The journey doesn't end here. Thanks for sticking around until the end. See you next time.